Aloha, friends. Time to begin here. Aloha from Hawaii. Ali from Palau. Bula from Fiji. Tafade from the Mariana Islands. Wow. Yakwe from Marshall Islands. Yorana from Tahiti. Kiora from New Zealand. Kiorana from the Cook Islands. Hello from Vanuatu. Hello Olgeta from Papua New Guinea. Mamudole from the Kingdom of Tonga. And Aloha from the islands of Samoa. It is always great to see everybody back here on the show. And my name is Ukulele Dad, or Dr. T, also known as Victor some days. But we have a very nice show coming on today, and I'll put that in the chat. We've got a special guest coming on here just in a few minutes. But again, welcome to School Talk Story with Dr. T. And we look forward to everybody participating in our show. And this show is brought to you by the National Pacific Islander Education Network, also known as NPINE. That's NPINE, yeah. I'm going to put that whole name in there so that you can see it. And again, we thank the NPINE board for, again, sharing this with everybody every week. And it is always a pleasure to come and be with all of you. So here it is. Yep, that's us. And then finally, I'll post in the chat. We've got some items here related to Cal Hope. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit here as well. But friends, we are going to admit our guest here. And again, I got to put my real name up here. Yeah, my name is Dr. T. And Ukulele Dad. But we will get to our ukulele class in a few minutes. So make sure, everybody, that you are looking for your ukulele, because we don't want you to lose it. But again, friends, it is good to see everybody today. And it is our pleasure to be with Dr. Alfred Flores. Hafade to you. Good to see you.
Hafade, Dr. Thompson. Great to see you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Alfred.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
Yeah, glad you made it. Yeah, and today on our program, we'll be talking later about the islands of Hawaii. But yeah, we try to pick a different island every week. But friends, Dr. Alfred comes to us from Harvey Mudd College. He is a professor, and Harvey Mudd College is located here in California, for those of you out there that don't know. And we'd like him to take an opportunity to talk to us today about his profession and how he got there, and just share some other things with us. But first of all, Dr. Alfred, tell us about your ancestors.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. So my ancestors is that from, I am a Chamorro and Korean descent. Chamorro from the island of Guahan. On that family side, our clan names Kulu and Kabesa from the village of Zotnya, and also the village of Totu. And on my mother's side, my family name is Kim, from the city in Seoul, which is the capital. So, and actually that's actually where I was born. So my father, U.S. Army, like many other Chamorros, was in the military, and then he was stationed in Korea, and that's how he met my mother. So,
well, thank you for telling your story. And again, tell us about your profession and what you're doing over there at the college.
Yes, so I teach, as you said, at Harvey Mudd College, which is in Claremont, California. And my title is I'm an associate professor of Asian American studies there. But I actually teach primarily Pacific Islander Studies courses. So, they hired me to work in the Asian American Studies department, but they wanted me to provide Pacific Islander Studies classes or courses offerings for their students. And so I've been here since 2018. So now this is my seventh year, roughly. And I've been a professor though for about 10 years now. So before coming to Harvey Mudd College, I was a assistant professor of history at Riverside City College, which is not too far down the freeway from
Yeah.
Claremont. And and then I was there for about 2 years. And before that, I was a part-time lecturer at a lot of different colleges like UCLA, Cal State Dominguez Hills, and even Cal State Long Beach. So I have a pretty big experience when it comes to teaching at different locations and in different capacities.
Well, we're glad because the people need you all over. Well, thank you so much. And telling us again your history and your profession and how you got there. So tell us some more about the project you've been working on called HOPE. I believe that is the acronym, right?
Oh, yes, that's right. So I'm currently a part of this broader project that looks at the history of economic inequality in Orange County. And it's part of actually a larger project. I'm not a principal investigator or anything like that. Judy Wu is helping to head that out of UC Irvine. And so she asked me to be a part of it. And she
Good.
asked me if there was something that I wanted to do to be a part of the project. And I thought to myself, this would be a great time to get Pacific Islander leaders from the community that work in community-based organizations like yourself, Dr. Thompson, and amongst others, to get together for a roundtable and to discuss the histories and experiences of our communities in Orange County. I think we have a lot of things that have been growing in terms of understanding the experiences of Pacific Islanders in LA, in South Bay, to a certain degree, like San Diego and San Francisco as well. But I think also too, our communities have a long-standing history of being in places like Orange County as well. And
Mhm.
so that was my contribution, was to try to bring together folks like yourself and amongst others who will be participating at Roundtable next month. So I'm really proud about getting you all together to learn from you all and to help elevate your voices to teach the younger generation.
Nope, you've done good, and we look forward to it.
Definitely.
Do you live near the college there, or?
No, I actually live in Fullerton,
Okay, yeah,
California, which is not too far from the college. It's probably I think it's about a 30-minute drive from me, 30,
good.
20-minute drive. But I've grown up in places and lived in Indio, which is not too far from Palm Springs, home of the Coachella Valley Music Festival, which most people know
Yes,
it as.
yes.
But also have like connections to Riverside, where my grandparents, actually the city of Paris, right next to Riverside, my grandparents, my Chamorro grandparents, they had a Lantsu there, a ranch,
Wow.
in like on about 5 acres of rural land. So I got a lot of chances growing up to be around pigs and chickens and goats and hay. And so those are a lot of the experiences I had there on my grandparents' Lantsu in Paris. But also before they moved there, they actually lived in Long Beach. So when they moved from Guahan to California, they actually lived in Long Beach first, or they settled in Long Beach primarily first, and then later on moved to um, Paris. And so
Good.
Long Beach has a lot of connections for me, just like many other Chamorros and Samoans and Tongans as well. I know Long Beach is a home for many of those folks.
Oh yeah, a lot of people over here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. As you know, Dr. Thompson, right, with Empine being, situated there for many years.
Yep, my parents were some of our first island people in Long Beach in the 50s. They came.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I was born in St. Mary Hospital.
Yeah. And my father and my grandparents, they're buried at All Souls Cemetery right there in Long Beach. That's where they
Yeah, not far from my house. Yeah,
yeah.
amazing.
Mhm.
Well, that is fantastic. Thank you for sharing again.
Sure.
And I'm so glad that we could have you on the show. I'm going to sing a little later on. You don't have to stay for it, but I'm going to do the Half a Day song. So,
Oh, nice.
yeah, Fran taught me the song, but I says, well, Fran, I learned it now. We need another one. So we're working on a new one. If you have
Very
any ideas, let me know.
nice. Very cool.
So that's the only one I can think of. Well, as you know, we do our best to try to support students out there, in particular K-12 students, but especially college students, everybody out there. And what advice would you have now as you're working with college students for high school students out there that are coming up, and in particular our Pacific Islander students?
Mhm.
I know we're seeing many more going to college today, but it's still a little low, especially with my people, the Samoans and the Tongans. We still have a ways to go. I meet up with a lot of them on football scholarships, but they don't quite make it get their degree. And yeah, it's a little tempting now with the NIL to kind of go for the big money now rather than finish your education. So that's not good.
I could see that, yeah.
But yeah, I remember one young man at USC where my daughter went. He was actually a graduate student and he still had eligibility for football. So he came there to play. And I says, well, you're a good example for all the others here because I don't know how many are going to finish. Yeah. But yeah, what would you recommend for high school students out there, perhaps interested in going into the field of higher education or just getting a degree? What advice do you have for them out there?
Yeah, no, I mean, the one thing that I would say is that, well, a lot of things I could say, Dr. Thompson. So, I was for more background, I was a community college student. So, I didn't like have this, traditional, from high school to, under 4-year college pipeline, experience. I went to community college. I was there for 3 years. I had remedials. So I didn't even finish, community college in 2 years, like most counselors will tell you, right? They were like, they always tell you, you can do it in 2 years. That's 2 years if you have no remedials. Like
Yeah,
if you have remedials, then, if you don't place into college level courses, you have to spend a little extra time, which I did. But I think, one of the things that I saw was that growing up is that my mom and my dad, who were both, blue collar backgrounds, they weren't very well educated. They always just encouraged me to keep going. And so they said that, there's nothing wrong with working with your hands because my dad was a mechanic and my mom cleaned houses, but they said that, the likelihood of your hands and your body breaking down before your brain is more likely to happen to you. So why not use your brain to make money and to support yourself and your future family with? And so they said to do that, they said to go, to move forward with they told me to move forward and get an education. So that way I could do that. And so that always kind of stuck with me because I saw my mom work hard cleaning houses. I saw my dad work as a mechanic. And those are all great professions. I think that's where I'm a little different from my parents, though, Dr. Thompson, because I actually see a lot of value in vocational and trade schools as well. So
yep,
I would tell students those are also really great options. But I think no matter what you do, you have to try to get some kind of training and skill set to be able to flourish and, make a living off of those kinds of jobs. So I would say that students just kind of have to find and pursue their passion. And for me, working with young people and educating and helping to empower other folks was something that I always valued because I was always empowered by my professors and my counselors
good.
and my teachers. They were always the ones that encouraged me to, do better in my classes, to, take more classes, to find help with, tutoring and they would help me find access to tutoring. Those are the people that really empowered me. And so, that's what I decided I wanted to do too, Dr. Thompson, was to do that for other Pacific Islanders and other students. So, going into academia was something that took me a little while to find, but once I did, it was something that's been a passion of mine since, and that's why I'm still here. So I think for students, try to find that passion and also don't be afraid to ask for help. Ask for help.
Yeah,
Seek out the mentors, seek out the educators, and those mentors and educators don't always have to come from your college classes. They can come from your church. They can come from the community organizations that your families are a part of. They can come from your neighbors. Anyone who's had an experience going to college or a vocational or trade school, these are all people that can mentor you. And so I would say, don't be afraid to seek out that kind of support and advice. And that's like to me the starting ground. Starting.
beautiful. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you mentioned the community college experience as well as trade schools. Young people do something past high school. I mean, that's the bottom line.
That's right.
So, it's interesting because our guest last week was Amaris Leatawa,
Mhm.
and she just earned her her degree as an attorney.
Yeah, Everest.
And yeah, and she's practicing up in Utah now. I think she likes the cold better than us, Alfred. Yeah, I went to school there for my undergrad, but I was out of there. It's too cold.
Too cold.
Oh my, it's too much.
It can get hot there too, right? It can get pretty hot there too, correct?
Yeah, but they do have snowboards, so that's good. But yeah, Amaris said, the one thing I recommend to you high school students is don't overlook community college.
Yeah,
Because I think too many of us try to go to a 4 year, we just don't really know what we're doing. So
right.
that's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
No, and I wasn't ready for it, Dr. Thompson. Like I wasn't ready for a 4 year at a high school. I was underprepared. So community college was a great bridge for me.
Good. Well, I think another interesting thing I'm curious about in your upbringing was were you raised with many Pacific Islanders, in particular, young people and others from Guam? And if not, I guess what did you do? Because a little different for me because I was one of the only ones. Although I'll admit, in the 60s, 70s, we did have students from Guam in my classes, but we
Mm.
we were the only ones.
Mhm.
But was this something that you face, and what advice would you give to some of the others out there? Because even today, sometimes they do go into professions or places where they may be one of the few. So
That's right. No, that's true. No, growing up in India in the Coachella Valley during the 1980s, I was, obviously, I understand my racial reading. My racial
right,
reading is Korean or Asian, right? So, I was always viewed in that kind of way, and so I faced a lot of racism growing up there
yeah,
in the 1980s. There wasn't even a lot of Asians out there where I grew up. And so I think though for me, it was through my mother and my grandparents, my Chamorro grandparents, that really grounded my identity in being Korean and being Chamorro. And so that's where I learned a lot of what being Chamorro was being spending time on my grandparents' ranch in Paris on the weekends. Like that's what I learned about, fiestas and rosaries and anafa malik and taking care of each other and
sure,
providing service and support. Those are the things that I learned a lot about. I just couldn't articulate them, Dr. Thompson, like in an academic way, as a young person. But now looking back on it, I have a lot of appreciation for those experiences because I can make sense of it. And so when I finally went back to Guahan for the first time in I think 2000 and I think it was 2007 or 2008, a lot of the experiences I had growing up on my grandparents' ranch actually made sense to me because I went
good,
there and I spent time with family and I saw like how we gathered. I saw like what people did, I saw how people lived and all those things then made a whole lot of sense. It was like a light bulb went on for me. Like, oh, this is what my grandparents were trying to maintain. They were trying to maintain these kinds of cultural practices, still living in California during this time period, even though they were no longer living in Guahan.
wonderful.
And so, but I also think that my mother, being married to a Chamorro man, also knew those things. And so she tried to ground me in my Korean identity as well as my Chamorro identity too, and how those intersections of their cultural values, uh, uh, like where they would meet, like those intersections between Korean culture and my Chamorro culture aligned and intersected. So, the respect for ancestors and elders that we do in many of our communities is something that I grew up from both sides of experiencing. That's one example.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think there was a teacher that really reached out to me in high school, and again, we were some of the only ones. And she was my Spanish teacher.
Okay.
So that's when I decided. I did spend a year at UCI before I went on a 2 year church mission to South America. But I said, yeah, this is not going too well because I wanted to be in medicine like my parents, but I just am not very good in math and science. So
Me neither. That's why I'm a historian.
that's it. But yeah, this particular teacher always reached out to me. She says, "Where is your family from?" And I said, "Wow, she cares." So she inspired me to become a teacher.
Yeah.
And then when I returned from my 2 years in South America, I went to see her. Of course, by then I'm speaking fluent Spanish. I mean, she just tears came to her eyes. It was just wonderful.
Yeah.
And she forced me to stay in her class all day to speak to all the students. Yeah, but yeah, I'll never forget that. That's what inspired me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
before I forget, I actually went to church this last Sunday. I was out in Brea.
Oh yeah.
We have a Korean congregation there at our church.
Oh.
So yeah, they were very kind. They translated for me. So, did you understand anything? No. So, yeah, I was mainly there. I have a church assignment to discuss English proficiency and to kind of talk about what we can do to improve our English and so forth. And then I had asked them, do you teach Korean to your children? Some of them said yeah. Some said we need to do a better job. We had talked about maybe there was a community class they could enroll in, or even have them come to the church. They'd be happy to have them come. So yeah, I think that's important because I really didn't learn much of the Samoan language as a young person. And there weren't any Samoans to talk to either. So, but I did later as an adult. But yeah, that was a lot of fun being with them. Yeah, the bad news, I had to get back because after church they had a nice feast. I said, "Oh no." Yeah, I missed out. Well, good for you. You have two wonderful cultures there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we don't want to keep you too long, but is there any other parting shots you might have for the students out there, or anything else you'd like to add for everybody?
Yeah, no, just to, reiterate or just to reaffirm, like, reach out, like, don't hesitate. Talk to your community leaders, talk to your church, your church elders, talk to anyone that have experienced any of the types of education that we talked about, trade, vocational, traditional college. Don't and just remember that it's a journey and it's a journey, and that sometimes journeys have twists and turns. There's never a linear straight point A to point B. Our lives take us on ups and downs and twists and turns, and it's important to be patient with yourself, as you're along that academic and educational journey. That's the biggest thing, is just try to be patient with yourself and understand that there's going to be moments where it's ups and downs. But the most important thing is just to continue the path and to seek support when you need it. And then when you get to your professions, bring those things that are values of yourself, like the values that you have, your cultural values, your cultural morals, bring them to your professions. Bring them to, the education work you might do, bring them into, medicine if you're a doctor or a lawyer, like bring them with you. Don't feel like you have to check them at the door and not bring them into whatever profession you're in. Because I think that's a large part of who we are. And those things should not be divorced from or separated from, the work that we do, regardless of that profession. And I'm always here for students. So, Dr. Thompson, if anyone reaches out or wants my email address, please feel free to share my email address with them.
Good.
I'd be happy to, talk and correspond with any students who have any other further questions, or any other educator too who wants to.
Yep, and same here. If you need any ukulele music for your students, let me know. We'll come on up.
That sounds great. I think there would be some interested students for sure.
Yeah, I got in trouble with OCC. They keep inviting me to come back. So that's 3 times now. So, oh, yeah, yeah. Well, friends, again, thank you to Dr. Alfred. We appreciate you coming and joining with us today. And yep, I know a song in Korean too, so we'll have to share that sometime with each other.
That sounds good.
But again, thank you so much, and have a great day, and aloha to everybody out there.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. And once again, sorry I have to run. I have to go teach
Oh,
my
that's
next
okay.
class.
That's okay. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
All right, everybody. It's been great to be with Dr. Alfred Flores. And friends, as you know, it's now time for ukulele class. So find your ukulele there and let's start a playing. But yeah, good to hear from Dr. Alfred. That was great to have him on the program today. But today we are going to work on the Aiko Aiko song. So up here in the chat, you have our Facebook group for Enpine. That's one way you can find the music. And then the other way to go here on our Google Drive, and that will be the other way that you can find the music. So start looking there for the music and for your instrument. In the meantime, let me just do a few announcements while we're waiting. Okay. All right, let me see here. So yeah, if you haven't discovered this, this is the Enpine Facebook website, or I'm sorry, Enpine website. So you'll find a lot of information in here. But I think the biggest thing I wanted to share was we have coming up the 24th Annual Education Conference at Morris High School in San Diego. Let's take a look down here. You can register on Eventbrite. We're looking for sponsors, also participants in the Career College and Resource Fair. So please register there today, everybody. All right. But again, come back to our website. A lot of good stuff here that you can learn from. Now let's go over to the Enpine Facebook page. Okay. You'll see a lot about Krispy Kreme. We just started our Krispy Kreme fundraiser this month. It goes till the end of September. Okay, so you buy some donuts and Enpine gets 50%, and this goes toward our student scholarship and an internship programs and all of the programs we do. Yep, and I mentioned Morris High School there. There's some more donuts. Yeah, I think we shared this one with you last time. So let me just double check. Yeah, I think we're right. Yep, we did share this last time. This is our Enpine newsletter. Yep, we did the birthdays as well. So we'll be coming out again with another newsletter in another week or so. Yep, staff's been pretty busy there. All right, but everybody, let's again get out our instruments and let us start playing here. And this song is called Aiko Aiko. It's written by Justin Wellington, who is from Papua New Guinea. But we're going to learn two chords today on our instrument. I'm going to move our ukulele dad background here. But before I do that, I've got to share with you a little bit about the Hawaiian Islands. So keep looking for your instrument while I'm doing this. Hawaiian Islands is an island state of the United States. Its capital is Honolulu. So there's a little map of Hawaii there. Okay, so you can see all of the different islands. And the population is almost 1,500,000. Okay. And they do speak English and Hawaiian among other languages, because there are other individuals that live there as well, but those are some of the main languages. There are 137 islands, but there are 8 main islands. They are Niihau, Kauai, Oahu, Molokai, Lanai, Ko'olave, Maui, and Hawaii, also known as the Big Island. And sadly, Queen Liliuokalani was overthrown as the queen in 1893. So that's a very sad part of the history there. But this is the north shore of Oahu. It's very famous because that's where they do a lot of surfing up there. But to all of my relatives out there, I say aloha to all of you, because I probably have 300 to 400 relatives there in Oahu. But again, we hope everybody's doing well there on the islands. And I hope that you learn a little bit more again about the Hawaiian Islands. and take some time to visit, not just the tourist places, but visit many parts of the islands and get to know all the people there. All right, I'm going to go to no background there so that we can take a look again at our ukulele class. And everybody, this is an ukulele. So we strum the instrument with our right hand. Let me bring down our screen a little bit. So we strum with our right hand. Let me get my other one because this one gets a little loud sometimes. So that's how we strum, down and up. And look at your left hand, that's fingers 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we put these here. This is fret 1 is section number 1, fret 2, section number 2 of our board, and then fret 3 and fret 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are the sections of our keyboard here, okay? But let's take a look at our chords we're going to learn today. The first one is known as the C7 chord. So take a look here at our chart. So it's called the C7 chord. And then if you'll start there, the first string, which is the one closest to me, is called the G string, or string number 1. It's called G. String number 2 is C. String number 3 is E. And string number 4 is A. So G, C, E, A. We also call that my dog has fleas. Okay. But you'll notice your first finger is on string 4, fret number 1. Okay. So let's try it. First finger on string 4, fret 1. Let's strum it. Good. And then the next one is the F chord. Okay. Yep, I notice this is a long song too, so we'll come back and do it again next week too, but I'll give you the introduction and you can practice. Okay, so this one is the F chord. You'll notice your first finger is on string 3, second finger is on string 1, fret 1 and fret 2. So let's try it. And your first finger is on string 3, second finger string 1, frets 1 and 2, F. So the song basically goes like this: F, 2, 3, 4, C7, 2, 3, 4, and F, 2, 3, 4, C7, 2, 3, 4. So the good news, that's pretty much the whole song. You're doing F and C7, not bad, okay? Well, let's take a look at the song. Hopefully you found it there in one of the files. This is called Aiko Aiko, and again, it's by Justin Wellington, who's from Papua New Guinea. Now, we talked last time about Papua New Guinea, and they have over 800 languages are spoken there in addition to English. And then they have another what we call a pidgin language. Pidgin is kind of a combination of English and then native languages, just to give the people a way to kind of communicate there. It is called Tok Pisin. Okay, so Tok Pisin. But again, Papua New Guinea, they have all these languages they learn. So it's pretty amazing. They've been able to, again, maintain the indigenous tribes there. But so some of these words are probably coming from pidgin here that I'm going to sing today, okay? So we will do the introduction, the interlude, then we'll do verse 2, the interlude, and then we'll go to, it repeats verse 1, but I don't know why we call it verse 2 again. Okay, but again, we repeat that after the interlude. And then I think we'll stop around there, okay? And then we'll finish this up next week. All right, everybody? So here we go. F, 2, 3, 4, C7, 2, 3, 4, C7, 2, 3, 4, and F, 2. Here we go. My bestie and your your bestie, sit down by the fire. Your bestie says she won't party, so we can make these flames go higher. Talk about hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, aiko, aiko, ane. Chocomo fina, anane, chocomo fina, ane. Verse 2. Start my truck, let's all jump in. Here we go together. Nice cool breeze and big palm trees. I tell you, let's get no better. Talk about hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, aiko, aiko, ane. Chocomo fina, anane, chocomo fina, ane. Verse 2. My bestie and your bestie dancing by the fire. Your bestie says she won't party, so we can make these flames go higher. Talk about hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, aiko, aiko, ane. Chocomo fina, anane, chocomo fina, ane. All right, let's stop right there because next week we'll finish up the rest of the song. But again, keep working on that. There's a YouTube link there in the music that you can also take a look at. But good job. That's not too hard of a song. Just keep doing the F and the C7. Good work, everybody. All right. Well, next on our agenda, we're going to do some self-care. So this is the time when I want everybody to kind of get ready there. And we're going to do our stretching and breathing. So everybody kind of stretch out. Yep, stretch out. And hey, you might fall asleep after that. And then again, stretch. And then kind of do some breathing through the stomach. Breathe in and out. And in and out. And just kind of keep breathing and stretching while I share the following with you. Today's topic is about strangers. Kind of scary, huh? It says if you are willing to risk rejection and start a conversation with someone you don't know, you might be surprised at how much brighter your world will be. Yeah, sometimes it's a little scary, everybody, to talk to a stranger. But think of a time a stranger helped you or a loved one, and how did their kindness make a difference in your life? So, yeah, just think about that because, like I said, it's a little scary to talk to the strangers, but kind of do your best, and some won't be interested, and maybe others will. But again, do your best and at least try to leave them with a smile, everybody. That will really help. So, our next song I wanted to share with you, this is dedicated to our friend Dr. Alfred Flores. And this is the Hafade song, which comes to us again from the island of Guam, which is in the Marianas Islands, everybody. So here we go. And we're going to say Hafade, which means hello, how are ya? Okay. Hafade Tolumaleg. So that's what this song is called. How are you? And thank you. Here we go, everybody. And it's interesting because we do use F and C7 in this song, among others. Okay. Here we go, everybody. F, C7, F, C7. Keep going on the island of Bayana. You hear a lot of the natives say as you come along and visit us. Oh, well, hello and hafade, with a happy smile on their face and a pretty smile that glows in place, really meaning what they say. Each time they simply say hafade, hafade, hafade. The chorus, hafade, told the Malik, how are you? Hafade, told the Malik, thank you. Hafade, 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 hafade. Let me help you, friend, say the word. You must promise me, friend, that you'll try. 8 islands, I know you have heard, spelled Hafadi. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Just pronounce it as a Hafade. Sing it with the beat and say it every day, like Hafade, Hafade, Hafade. Hafade, told the Malik, how are you? Hafade, told the Malik, thank you. Hafade, express in many different ways. Like when you meet a chamorita girl, you simply say, Hafade. And if you ever need a native friend, or a helping hand along the way, wear a friendly smile, talk chamorro, stop, Hafade, 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 told the Malik, how are you? Hafade, told the Malik, thank you. Hafade, 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 told the Malik, how are you? Hafade, told the Malik, thank you. Hafade, 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 Hafade. Hafade, Hafade, Hafade. Hafade, Hafade, Hafade. All right, everybody, that was a fun song. All right. Well, I got a couple other things to share with you. And again, thanks for everybody for joining us on the show. So, this is the time of day where we take a look at our anxiety and stress levels. So, again, this is our famous chart I always bring up. So, ask yourself, what level am I in? The green, the yellow, which are good, or maybe you're getting into the orange and the red, and the red is not good, everybody. And see those numbers at the bottom plus in the chat? We have the Cal Hope live chat, our 833 number. Also in the chat here in Zoom and Twitch, we have the 415 number. And these are folks that are trained to talk to you and listen. And if things aren't really going that well at all, you're in the red zone, just dial the 988. We call that the lifeline, everybody. And they will get to you immediately and help you out. Well, today we are going to talk about our emotions. So we all need to do the following, everybody. We need to acknowledge, accept, and respond to our emotions. Okay, so we have them. Sometimes it is challenging to respond, but remember to not surrender to our emotions, respond to them. So that's good advice, everybody. Yeah. So again, don't surrender, respond to your emotions. Finally, I want to share with you from our 50 Ways to Take a Break chart. This is very good. So here we go. Our first one is listen to a guided relaxation. Yeah, that's kind of what we just did. I kind of guided you through some relaxation. And then the next one is to learn something new. Yeah, imagine that. And then finally, to read a book. I don't think they meant an audio book or watching a video. It is to read a book. So these are some ways, again, friends, to take a break. And I know that they will help you. All right. Well, I've got one more song here. Again, we wanted to dedicate this to our friends in Hawaii, everybody. So again, to all of the many islands of Hawaii, here's their beautiful flag. And here is the North Shore of Oahu. So let me share with you a song known as the national anthem of the island, everybody. I keep forgetting the wrong instrument. And this one talks about the beauty of Hawaii, the sands of my birth, the individuals that wrote the song, native home. I rejoice in the blessings of heaven. And then it talks about the happy youth of Hawaii, rejoice. That's what olie means. Olie means rejoice. The gentle breezes blow, love always for Hawaii. All right, everybody. So that's when we say Mauke Aloha Hawaii. That means love always. So here we go, everybody. mane. Mauke aloha, aloha mahi. Mauke aloha, aloha mahi. All right, everybody. Well, it is always a privilege to be with all of you, everybody. And again, aloha to all of our friends there in Hawaii. We appreciate all of you and all that you do. And again, we recognize some of the terrible things that happen in the state of Hawaii, but how you have always tried to again lead with aloha. So we appreciate you. Well, friends, I wanted to announce that coming up next week, we will be back here at 12 p.m. Pacific time. And then I wanted to announce we no longer meet on Thursdays, we meet on Tuesdays now, but next week is September the 2nd. And we will be at the Ohana Hawaiian Barbecue in the city of Lakewood. This week, California, this week will be starting at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So for all of you here on Twitch, we are going to stream this on Tuesday. So please join us, come and be with us. And we will be recognizing a special guest that night. So please come and be a part of it. All right, everybody. But again, aloha to all of our friends in Hawaii. And let's finish up with our final aloha song. Yep. Let me see. Yep, there it is. I'll even say aloha in some of our other islands we don't do too much, like Vanuatu, Solomon Islands, etc. So here we go. 5, 6, here we go. Aloha from Hawaii. Adios, Mariana Islands, Wahan, Dr. Alfred. Aloha from the Kingdom of Tonga. Arera from the Cook Islands. Aerera from New Zealand. Aotearoa. Goodbye from Honolulu. Yakwe from the Marshall Islands. Ukiniu from Solomon Islands. Me'ikun from Palau. Mose from Fiji. Nana from Tahiti. And Tofa from Samoa, as well as Tuvalu. That's how we say goodbye, Tuvalu. But everybody, again, take some aloha to the world and do your best to treat the people out there, especially the strangers, with much aloha. Good to see everybody, and take care.